Alexander Isak has dropped a bombshell. The Newcastle striker is adamant he's played his last game for the club, with Liverpool ready to up their bid to a staggering £150 million. Could we see the Sweden star swap black and white for red before deadline day? Let's break down the explosive latest developments. Newcastle striker Alexander Isak is adamant. He has played his final game for the club. The Sweden star top scored for the club last season, but has attracted interest from Liverpool this summer. Liverpool saw a bid for the striker knocked back earlier in the window. However, the latest development could lead to a deal going through before deadline day. As first reported by The Athletic, Isak has no plan to reintegrate into Newcastle's squad, even if no deal is agreed before the September 1st deadline. Isak played out the 2024-25 season, having decided that he wanted to move at the end of the campaign, ever since he was informed last year that he wouldn't be getting a new contract. Isak's stance comes amid a host of high-profile pundits making their feelings clear on his behaviour, with Ali McCoist declaring, "I think he's acted poorly." He told Mirror Football, "I think he's been poor. You can't behave like that." The one set of supporters that won't let you away with it are Newcastle fans. It's hard to argue with them. Isak's current deal runs until the summer of 2028, meaning Newcastle are unlikely to be forced to sell on the cheap. However, the latest development may make it easier for Liverpool to land the former Real Sociedad star. The Reds' first bid was worth up to £120 million, including add-ons. However, an improved offer around £150 million could yet prove sufficient. Newcastle take on Aston Villa in their Premier League opener on Saturday, with Liverpool beginning their campaign against Bournemouth on Friday night. Isak is not expected to play a part, but a Liverpool move before deadline day would allow him to turn out for the champions early in the campaign. The striker is said to have informed Newcastle boss Eddie Howe of his desire to leave before the end of last season. He finished the campaign as Newcastle's top scorer to help them qualify for the Champions League, but doesn't look likely to play any part in the next European journey. Liverpool have already spent big during the summer transfer window, including a record-breaking move for Florian Wirtz. Hugo Ekitike has also joined the club, but exits for Luis Diaz and Darwin Nunez have left room for another attacking recruit. Newcastle let Isak's backup Callum Wilson leave on a free earlier in the summer, and have seen a number of other attacking targets move elsewhere. Ekitike was on their radar before he moved to Anfield, while João Pedro chose Chelsea and Benjamin Sesko opted for a move to Manchester United. A number of other options have emerged, with Howe's side running out of time to add the reinforcements they need. Porto striker Samu Omorodion is among those said to be in the mix, 12 months on from a move to Chelsea collapsing. While an on-off pursuit of Brentford star Jon Wissa looks as though it could still result in a move in the coming weeks. Virgil van Dijk has made it crystal clear Liverpool's squad has massive respect for Newcastle's red-hot striker Alexander Isak. But with the Reds' £110 million bid rejected, will Arne Slot push for one last blockbuster signing? Let's break down the latest twist in Liverpool's striker chase. Virgil van Dijk's pre-Carabao Cup final comments indicate that a red-hot Newcastle talisman, Alexander Isak, is revered by the Liverpool squad. The Reds submitted an opening £110 million offer for Isak this summer, but a move has since stalled. Despite spending almost £300 million on the likes of Jeremy Frimpong, Milos Kerkez, Hugo Ekitike, and potential British record transfer Florian Wirtz, Arne Slot's side are still eyeing up a blockbuster move for the Magpies' star Swedish striker. The club tabled a £110 million bid earlier this month, which was swiftly rejected and have not returned with a follow-up. Reports suggest Newcastle have informed their player he is not for sale this summer and will not head to Anfield, though not all hope is lost. Nevertheless, Isak knows exactly how Liverpool's squad feels about him, after the club's captain made a glowing admission before March's Carabao Cup final between the Reds and Newcastle. Asked about facing Newcastle in the final, Van Dijk did not hold back when praising striker Isak, an indicator of just how highly he is rated by players on Merseyside. Obviously they have a striker that is in red-hot form at the moment, Van Dijk told CBS Sports with a chuckle in February. So when the time is there, we have to be ready. With Liverpool's pursuit of Isak hitting a snag, manager Slot was asked whether the departed Darwin Nunez, who has joined Saudi Pro League side Al Hilal, would be replaced by the 25-year-old, and he remained tight-lipped in his response. As you know from me, and I think every manager works like this, you never talk about players that are not yours, Slot told reporters, before their Community Shield defeat to Crystal Palace. So I can talk to you about Hugo Ekitike, who we've signed recently, and has done really well until now. We are very happy with the squad we have. There's every reason to be happy about that, because we won the league last season. Okay, players left, but we've brought players in as well, and youngsters are doing good. Slot also touched on the club's current range of attacking talent, which was on full display at Wembley against the Eagles, with new recruits Ekitike and Frimpong finding the back of the net. The Dutch manager refused to rule out his side returning to the transfer market, however, but did admit that his current arsenal is already impressive. We think we already have a lot of attacking power in our team, Slot continued. I think about Cody Gakpo, Federico Chiesa, Hugo Ekitike, and Mo Salah. We brought in Jeremy Frimpong because we think he can play as a right fullback, but I also think and feel he can play as a right winger, Florian Wirtz, who can play as a left winger. I already feel I have a lot of attacking options in my current squad. But as always, as a club, we are always looking at the chances in the market. But that can also be in the midfield or in the last line. Liverpool's transfer window just keeps heating up. After spending nearly £300 million, the Reds are ready to step up their chase for England's star, Mark Guehi. But talks with Crystal Palace will wait until after the Community Shield clash. With Chelsea distracted by other targets, could Arne Slot swoop in for Van Dijk's long-term successor? Plus the latest on Alexander Isak as the £120 million saga continues. Let's dive in. Liverpool are set to hold further talks with Crystal Palace over defender Mark Guehi after the two clubs have played each other in the Community Shield with Chelsea, yet to make a new approach. The Reds have identified the England international as a top defensive target, as Arne Slot looks for a long-term successor to captain Virgil van Dijk, while cover is also needed following the exit of Jarell Quansah to Bayer Leverkusen. That departure has left Liverpool with just 3 recognised centre-backs ahead of the new season, and Slot will want to ensure his team is well stocked to defend their Premier League crown. Liverpool are said to be big fans of Guehi and want to accelerate talks with Palace, but will do so after Sunday's Wembley clash between the Premier League champions and the FA Cup winners, according to the Daily Mail. Guehi is high in demand after a superb season with Palace, and former club Chelsea are said to be interested in bringing him back to Stamford Bridge. But as it stands, the Blues have not submitted a bid for the defender, despite losing Levi Colwill to a long-term ACL injury, the report says. Enzo Maresca is planning to sign a new defender. However, and Leverkusen centre-back Piero Hincapié is on his list too. But Chelsea are occupied on securing the signing of Xavi Simons from Red Bull Leipzig for now, while they also want to get Manchester United's Alejandro Garnacho over the line, which could give Liverpool the upper hand. Palace are said to be demanding at least £45 million for a player who is out of contract next summer. Slot's side have spent nearly £300 million in the transfer window already and are still chasing a money-spinning move for Alexander Isak, with his club Newcastle rejecting their recent £120 million bid. The Reds have also sanctioned a British transfer record move of £116.5 million for Florian Wirtz and £79 million on Frankfurt's Hugo Ekitike. But that hasn't stopped the club for pushing ahead with plans to strengthen at both ends of the pitch. Their number one priority will be to secure the signature of Isak, but that move is shrouded in uncertainty as the player continues to train alone. When asked if he may have to sell the Sweden star this weekend, boss Eddie Howe replied, "That's a decision that I won't make. That will be for other people to make." We're focusing on next weekend's Premier League opener against Aston Villa. Everything else, to a degree from my perspective, is not in my control, so it's not my focus. Liverpool have confirmed the departure of Darwin Nunez in a shock £46.3 million switch to Saudi giants Al Hilal. The Uruguayan striker leaves Anfield after 3 years, 143 appearances and 40 goals, helping the Reds lift both the Premier League and Carabao Cup. But with Luis Diaz already gone to Bayern Munich and Alexander Isak heavily linked, could this be the start of a major Liverpool rebuild? Let's dive into all the details. Liverpool have confirmed the departure of Darwin Nunez, who has joined Saudi side Al Hilal. The Uruguayan striker has moved to the Middle East for a fee of around £46.3 million. A statement from the Reds on Saturday evening read, Liverpool FC can confirm Darwin Nunez has completed a permanent transfer to Al Hilal, subject to international clearance. The Uruguayan's 3-year spell with the Reds concludes after he finalised a switch to the Saudi Pro League side today. Nunez departs Anfield having made 143 appearances and scored 40 goals, collecting Premier League and Carabao Cup winners' medals along the way. The striker arrived at the club from Benfica in the summer of 2022 and scored on his competitive debut to help Jurgen Klopp's team lift the FA Community Shield with victory against Manchester City. His first season as a Liverpool player saw him get on the scoresheet 15 times from 42 outings in all competitions and named the club's Standard Chartered Player of the Month on 2 occasions. Nunez improved his haul of goals in the following campaign by producing 18-2 of those off the bench at Newcastle United to complete a remarkable late turnaround in the early weeks. The 2024-25 term turned out to be his final one with the Reds, and he would complete his career on Merseyside by hoisting the Premier League trophy aloft. Nunez's pair of stoppage-time finishes to snatch victory away at Brentford in January was an undoubted vital moment and highlight of the historic season. Everybody at the club would like to thank Darwin for his contributions and wish him and his family all the best for the future. Nunez's exit represents a considerable loss for the Reds, having originally signed him from Benfica in 2022 for an initial £64 million a fee that had potential to rise to around £85 million. He becomes the latest high-profile departure from Anfield this summer, following Luis Diaz's switch to German giants Bayern Munich. Those deals have now armed Liverpool with considerable funds to potentially do a deal for striker Alexander Isak, albeit he has been told in no uncertain terms that he will be staying with Newcastle this summer. The Swedish forward is still training away from his Magpies teammates, having refused to go on the club's pre-season tour of Asia. Newcastle are reportedly keen to bank around £150 million from his signature should they be forced to sell,